Welcome back. 2 Israeli missiles struck a Gazan hospital yesterday. The IDF saying that the main part of the compound was used by Hamas to plan attacks. The terrorist group releasing new video of Israeli-American hostages Adnan Alexander begging for freedom over the weekend. Alexander, one of 59 hostages still held by Hamas. This coming after the Senate confirmed Mike Huckabee as the U.S. ambassador to Israel, who plans on visiting Jerusalem later this week. Joining me now is the man himself, Ambassador Mike Huckabee. Mr. Ambassador, congratulations to you.
Well, thank you, Maria. Looking forward to making the move. We'll be there later this week and start the tenure at the post. And there's a lot to say grace over, to say the least.
Absolutely. And we're praying for your success for sure, Ambassador. What do you want to see once you get to Jerusalem? What's your #1 goal when you get there later this week?
The first thing I'm going to do is to take a prayer that the president gave me on Thursday when I met with him at the White House. And I'm going to take it to the Western Wall, and I'm going to place it there on behalf of the American people and on behalf of the president. I can't think of a better way to begin my tenure than to let the people of Israel know that the president stands with them. He wants their safety, their security, and he wants the hostages home. And that's the first priority, especially the American hostage that has been held now since October the 7th of 2023.
Yes, thank you so much for that. That is just beautiful, and we will be praying along with you all week. We're just learning that the latest round of talks in Cairo ended this morning with no breakthrough. How does this conflict come to an end, Ambassador?
Well, there has to be some recognition on the part of Hamas that they have no future. They don't. They're not going to be able to remain in Gaza. They're not going to be able to govern anything. They're not a government. They're not an army. They're a terrorist organization, and they're the ones responsible for the tens of thousands of unfortunate Palestinians who had the misfortune of electing Hamas to power back in 2007. And now the really horrible result of that has come to the forefront. They've got to go. The Iranians have to understand there is no nuclear weaponry in their future. The president has made that clear. And all of the Middle East should understand that President Trump comes with an incredible history of the Abraham Accords, of bringing real peace, trade agreements, organizations together from these various countries that once were enemies and bringing them together for a peaceful Middle East. And those who do not want peace, those who want to continue in terror, they need to recognize their days are numbered, because there's a greater appetite for there to be cooperation, peace, and security for everyone in the Middle East than there is to have a few bad actors like the Iranians who fund these proxy organizations that murder people and massacre people. That has to stop.
Yeah, and I spoke with the Defense Secretary yesterday, Pete Hegseth, who told me he believes slowly but surely the Iranians are getting the message. Watch this.
Iran's taking a look at what's happening to the Houthis and realizing they don't want any part of it. And that's because we're dismantling the Houthis' capabilities. We're even hearing rumblings of them second-guessing what they're doing. Ultimately, we just want to open up our shipping lanes.
What about that, Ambassador? Do you think that Iran is actually getting the message and will stop funding these proxies?
You know, Maria, I sure hope so. If you remember that famous scene in the movie Tombstone where the late Val Kilmer, one of the great actors of all time, walked into the scene and said, "I'm your Huckleberry," I can envision Donald Trump walking into the scene and saying, "I'm your Huckleberry." And they better get it clear. This is a president who means business. This is not a president who just has empty words that he never carries out. And the Iranians had better understand that when Donald Trump tells them, you get rid of the nuclear weaponry or you will have hell to pay, that's their choice. And I hope they understand Donald Trump, when it comes to the safety, security of not just Americans, but of all peace-loving people, he's not fooling around and he doesn't make empty threats.
So do you think we're going to see the Israelis trying to knock out all of the nuclear buildup soon?
Maria, I wouldn't predict what will happen. Okay. I just know that the Iranians aren't going to have a nuclear weapon, and how that is accomplished remains to be seen, but it will be accomplished.
Residents of Gaza are speaking out against Hamas. The protests broke out to push back on the terrorist group's 18 years in power on the Strip. 18 years. One Gazan writing a Washington Post op-ed saying Hamas's tyranny must end. Ambassador, tell me about the president's plan post the Hamas rule in Gaza.
This is so significant that you have people in Gaza who are speaking out. They realize their lives have been decimated. And they're not decimated because of Israel. They're decimated because of Hamas. And they can't live with that future. When President Trump was elected, from that moment forward, he started talking about a different way in Gaza. Now, a lot of people said, well, his plans, they'll never happen. Here's what I'm telling you. When he started talking, everyone else in the entire Middle East started talking. That's where we are today. Gaza will have a better future because of President Trump and bringing people to the table who otherwise wouldn't even show up for the conversation. This is a president who brings people together.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. All of a sudden now everybody has a plan. Egypt has a plan. Qatar has a plan. But Ambassador, I want to get your take on the broader issues being talked about with regard to Israel. I mean, the fog of war sometimes, you know, puts people focused on the war and forgetting other things. But when Vice President Vance went to Europe, he criticized the Europeans for anti-democrat behavior. And that went viral. You know, we were talking about censorship, canceling elections. Regarding Israel, another strong ally of the United States, there is concern about Benjamin Netanyahu's attempts at restructuring their judiciary to be less independent, threatening the democracy. Does this concern you?
Well, it doesn't, because one of the things that an ambassador has to do is respect the host country. It's not our job as Americans to get in the middle of the issues that they face. So just like we have ours here in the U.S. that sometimes are very divisive, Israel has many issues they face. My job will be to focus on the president's message, his policies to the state of Israel, and to take the policies that Israel cares deeply about and bring those back to the president. So we'll let Israel handle their internal issues. We certainly have plenty of our own, but I'm so proud to serve a president who has moral clarity when it comes to the Middle East and to what should happen, most importantly in this Holy Week, the week of Passover, that the Jewish people know that they have a friend in the White House who believes that the Jewish people have a right to a state and a right to a peaceful, secure place to live. And that's going to be a joy to be able to represent this country and this president toward that goal. And I ask people to pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yeah, and I agree on wishing all a happy Passover and a peaceful Passover. Ambassador, these conflicts at universities are still underway. Columbia University. What are your thoughts on stopping the anti-Semitism that we still see in academia?
I hope every parent pulls their child out of these Ivy League schools where they're paying a fortune to turn their kids into little radicals. This is the most uneducated thing that is happening on an education campus. People who spew this anti-Semitism surely must know at some point that they're ill-founded. They don't even know what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're protesting. I think many of them are paid agitators, but the worst part is, like lemmings, they're jumping off the cliff, and they need to understand the issues of the Middle East. They clearly don't. Let's hope they do soon.
All right. Ambassador, we wish you safety and the best of luck with your upcoming meetings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria. Always a pleasure to get to visit with you.
Thank you so much. Ambassador Mike Huckabee.